is? How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be reviewing Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, the newest movie to come to theaters this past weekend or the weekend before past. You know what? It don't really matter. The point is we're going to talk about all the things. We're going to talk about the dungeons and their dragons, more specifically fat dragons. We're going to talk about paladins, warlocks and wizards and sorcerers, magical items, mimics, gelatinous cubes, all the stuff. So if you want to hear what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Okay, now I gotta start over.
I know. You did the most gentlest. Like you were like perfectly good, and then you have like these tiny blinks.
Shoot. Okay. Anyway,
Do it.
Just do the damage.
Stop smiling.
We got things to get to. This is a long movie.
hey everyone, welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. We hope you are having a great day today, as we are on this lovely day. My name is Jonathan. I am here with my lovely co-hosts, Alex and Jerome. Alex, let me go to you first because it is a special day for you. It is your birthday. Happy birthday, Alex.
Yep. By the
Thank
time
you.
this comes out, it will have passed, but y'all should still put in the comments and send us messages saying happy birthday, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I've been good. Just been chilling out for my birthday, at least for today. It's been all rainy and wet in Seattle, so like I had a nice big bowl of soup, noodles, which, yeah, I ate too much because I really love soup. So it's been just a nice cozy day. My week has been pretty chill. I rewatched. I don't know what possessed me. I rewatched Ghost Rider. The one,
The first
yeah,
one or the second one?
the
Jesus
first
Christ. But bring light. Now it's all evil. Anyway, go ahead.
That was a dramatic effect. Which one?
Which one have you watched, Alex? Which Ghost Rider?
I feel so threatened for watching Ghost Rider now.
I mean, they're both
watched
equally awful, so.
You know what? It was very fast storytelling. And I think I'm so used to Marvel stretching out their stories now between like 3 fucking movies
You mean having pacing?
that like, yeah, like yeah, and like this one was just like, it was like right away. They already had the guy who knew everything within like the first hour, like half hour of the film. That was like his guide and everything. Question for you, and I was gonna text this for you, but I was smoking when I watched this movie, which might be the reason I ended up watching this movie.
Fitting, you know, Ghost
Is
Rider, fire,
is
smoke.
Ghost Rider a skeleton all over, or is it just his like head and hands?
Technically, he is a skeleton all over, but you never, even when people draw him, I don't think anyone's ever drawn him not wearing a full like motorcycle get up. So you never get to see his body to know for sure. But I think the assumption is that he's all skeleton completely on fire.
Because like his pants like rode up a little bit and there was just like flames. And I was like, is it a flaming skeleton underneath his like outfit? Did I get a
Yeah,
picture
but
of,
it's like mystic fire, so you know it doesn't really
well,
burn
his ankles were
like it
mystic
should.
fire then. It was a stupid movie. But it was fun to watch. And
Yo, Nick Cage was fit back then, though. Like that
he
scene when he's got his
was.
shirt off, I was like, man, you are out here like actually working out. Like you're buff.
No, Nick Cage was pretty well, and what got me like laughing during the film wasn't ironically the CGI or anything. It was the stuntman stuff. It was all the stuntman, like, oh yeah, remember this and that. I was like, you remember like people wanting to be stuntmen to jump over things like that, Evil Knievel, things like and that stuff like that. And then ironically, earlier, like a couple days before that, I watched again. I don't know what possessed me to do this. I watched Jackass Forever finally.
Oh, did you like it?
I weirdly did.
Oh,
I liked it too. I never liked the Jackass movies. This one was the only one I liked, and I think it's because they're older. So it feels like you're watching like a bunch of friends that are like
It
old
felt
men who
like
have
you
like
were
been friends for
watching, yeah,
years.
but it more felt like you're watching a bunch of dads, which I think most of them
Yeah.
are. It was a bunch of dads acting stupid. Like if you watched every show where the dads are like, "We could still do this," and then they actually did it, that would be
Hmm.
this. I
Especially that
think.
scare with Johnny Knoxville like knocked out from the bull and all
Oh
the
yeah,
only thing he can say is I was like, yo, is Johnny
this
dead? Are we watching a
this
murder
has
right
finally
now?
killed him. I was
Jeez.
weirdly nostalgic. Well, not nostalgic. That's a strong word to use. I the irony or the I don't know what I felt when I watched Steve-O get bees on his dick
Mm.
was like I remember being a teenager and watching this and thinking it was one of the funniest and coolest things. As an adult, I was like, one, I should not have watched this as a teenager. Somebody really should have been monitoring my viewing programs. And two, I was like, it feels like a completed full circle thing going on with Jackass Forever. So it's like, yeah, they're doing these old stunts along with these new ones, and it felt like a weird closure thing. Because
Like,
also this time when it happened with Steve-O, he got to just get them off of him a little more
mhm.
safely, as opposed to the original Jackass where they were blaring air horns at the bees, trying to anger the bees and stuff like that. Now when they were like, okay, no more, they were like, okay, no more. It felt like a weird matured version of it. It was just really weird emotions watching Jackass Forever, which I didn't expect to have any emotions watching Jackass Forever.
Mhm. I
What did
love
you
the new
watch it on?
cast too. The new cast
Mm,
of people that were in this movie, the younger folks. I was like, cool, they're keeping it going. You know, you could have more Jackass movies just with new people.
yeah. And it shows there is a way to, oddly enough, do this more safely and more like you feel like you're going to damage these people in the most permanent sense. Like everybody was sober in this
Hmm.
film, drug tested every day. I think that's what gave it the friend dad vibe thing going on, was that you knew everybody was sober
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it was like so I've watched two odd movies this week. But other than that, it's been a pretty chill week. How's it been going for you, Jonathan?
Good. What did I do this week? I saw a play at the Geffen called shoot, what was it called? Oh my gosh, it was it was
It must have been that
uh
bad, huh? You didn't even bother to remember. You're just
You
like,
know,
well,
some
I don't need to
plays
remember
are
this.
not memorable, and that's okay. They still are great in their own sense.
No,
oh
I don't
my
know.
gosh. I literally Ava the Secret Conversations.
Well, that's why you couldn't remember. They were secret conversations. You know, you didn't want to share to give it
You
away.
weren't supposed to remember.
right. Um but being like a part of the inheritance at the Geffen. Like since then, they've sent me like alumni comps to each show, which uh, I've been able to go to, which is really cool. I don't know when it's gonna stop, but I've been cashing them in ever since.
Don't
So
question it. Just
I've
keep
been
going.
yes. um, and then on yesterday, Saturday, when we're recording this, it was my last Stranger Things show for the Stranger Things experience.
Oh,
So it's
That's it. You
bittersweet.
got to clarify because people know you're an actor. Then we're gonna be like, oh man, when season 5 comes out, I'm gonna be looking for Jonathan.
You won't see me in season 5 unless they took secret footage at the experience and are just gonna insert it into the show. In that case, Netflix,
Without your
y'all better
compensation or
right, y'all
consent.
better pay me for it.
I mean, it's Netflix. Would we be too surprised if they did something like that? They're struggling over there. They're fighting for them lives. So
That's what they keep making bad business decisions or missed opportunities, rather, not bad business decisions. They keep
a
missing
little, no, both,
opportunities.
both, both. So that kind of sucks that it's like you that it's over, but it was fun, right?
Yeah, it lasted a lot longer than like the cat like we had expected. We initially were told that it was gonna end in February, but apparently that was just a mistake and it was always planned to end in April.
Hmm. Did you
But
end up like doing like a party or anything, like a celebration, since it was you guys last
no,
shoot
because
or
it
last
hasn't
not shoot but last day?
Experience.
No, because it hasn't ended officially yet. It's ending next weekend. This was just my last
Oh,
show, but we're doing stuff like all throughout. Like they're planning stuff throughout like next week and the week after, so there'll be plenty of cast and crew get-togethers.
nice. Cool,
Oh,
cool.
Yeah. And how
I've been
about
waiting.
you, Jerome?
Oh man. Well, firstly, I also wanted Alex's birthday is a great celebration. Also wanted to give a celebration to the rising of the Lord. Like, happy Easter to everybody out there celebrating Easter. Hope you had a great time. Yeah, rise.
I was like, where
That's a
are we going
Dolomite.
with this?
That's a
Yeah.
Dolomite movie. If you haven't seen it, it's so funny. Just rise, motherfucker, rise. And I love the idea that someone was saying that outside Jesus's tomb or something. But my girlfriend's mom got me a little carrot bag with some goodies and candy in it. So
Aw,
uh
that's sweet.
for Easter, so that was great. And
Nice.
yeah, I hope everyone had a great Easter, whether you went to church or just did Easter egg hunt, or maybe just chilled out in the house, whatever it is you did for Easter. And also had a great Passover um for Friday as well. Um but yeah, I haven't really been doing much. I picked up and have started reading because I know the story, but I wanted to own it and read it again. Batman Year One. Super excited. This is one of the best Batman stories of all time, written by Frank Miller, art by David Mazzucchelli, um, and huge inspiration for a lot of Batman movies, namely Batman Begins and The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Both movies pull from Dave Mazzucchelli's or Frank Miller's Batman Year One a lot. So I'm glad to be rereading it again and looking at the art, and it's so pretty. And it's just a noir Batman story, which is super cool. Um, Finished Wu-Tang, an American Saga. Hate to see the show go. I really do. It was fun while it lasted. It was cool to see a story about or a show about the Wu-Tang clan's rise and how they basically dominated the hip hop scene in the 90s for a little bit, just before like Biggie and Tupac and all those guys like started really dominating. Like it was Wu-Tang all over. They had number one worldwide album for a while. In fact, their Wu-Tang Forever album was the first hip-hop album to become number one on the UK charts.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like Wu-Tang, like people don't like most people, who love Wu-Tang, but they don't know like the history of how big and how popular they were nowadays because it seems like it was so long ago, but it's like nah, they were like the dominating hip hop force for a long period of time, coming out of Staten Island. So that was cool and it was a good show, and I'm sad that it's over, but we move on. um and I don't think
So
we
is
got to
there a
talk
chance of a
just
second season?
it's only 3
Or they?
seasons.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's already been 3 seasons.
Hmm.
I did not know that. I assumed it was something new.
No, it has 3 seasons, but the thing is, they only got to Wu Tang Forever. Wu Tang lasted a lot longer after that. They didn't even cover ODB's death, all of the different kids, many of the other side groups RZA was doing work with at the time when Wu Tang was around. Like they missed a lot, but it's because they were trying to speed through a lot too. And season one took a long time to get to them actually becoming the Wu Tang Clan. So it's like it's weird. It feels like season 1 and 2 they were like, we're taking our time because we're gonna get to more. And then season 3 came out and they're like, it's the last season. It's like it's the last season. Y'all haven't even gotten to any of their solo projects, any of the like the second album. Like there's a lot of
You're like,
stuff.
oh, it's almost like they're missing the whole second act of their career.
Right. Like it's like you kind of or they sped through it rather, which was kind of sad, but it is what it is. But we didn't get a chance to also talk about I know Jonathan you've seen it. I don't know if Alex you've seen it yet, but we didn't talk about Swarm.
I have
But
not.
I've seen Swarm. Jonathan, I know you've seen Swarm. It's a great show from Donald Glover on Amazon Prime. Check out Swarm if you didn't get a chance. Biggest highlight for me, Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish, like she has a shot at being an amazing actress. I don't know what else she's gonna be in after this, but whatever it is, I'm sure she'll do great because she was phenomenal. in Swarm. The character she had to play is not an easy one to play, and she did it amazingly. So that was a legit
I think
surprise.
she might be getting that Emmy for guest star, and if
Probably.
she does, she'll be Ego.
You got.
She'll be Ego
Oh, she'll
because
be
she doesn't have
Ego.
a Tony yet.
No, Tony yet. She hasn't done
Okay.
any plays. But I mean, she's got the voice for it to either be in a musical or she has the acting chops to be in just a regular play. So either way.
Or you can get a Tony for just like producing.
True. Yeah, that's true. You can get a technical Tony.
Mm-hmm. Or like doing the music or something for it.
Yeah. So the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
But
also I was gonna sorry to my section, I was gonna mention Love is Blind is really heating up, and Netflix announced that the reunion, which is gonna be next week, is gonna be live, which I'm super excited about because it's only Netflix.
How?
It's only Netflix. It's gonna be on Sunday, I think, and it's gonna be like live. It's only Netflix's like second live event after the Chris Rock special. So I'm really they're doing this because they know like the show has gotten so popular, and it's like we might as well make an event of this. And it's gonna be messy. I can't wait to see what.
I
It's like
genuinely didn't know that they could do live.
they're testing it out. I know Disney Plus started doing that last year with Dancing with the Stars. That because Dancing with the Stars moved to Disney Plus, and they were broadcasting those shows live, and that was kind of their first thing. So it's like now streaming sites, services are experimenting with live TV, and it's like, isn't this why you started streaming? Like, isn't that what TV used to be? Like,
I know
but
Hulu's
whatever.
done a lot of live specials. Like they've done those weird plays or reenactments or something. But I never knew Netflix did one.
Yeah.
The other other thing I wanted to get to, mainly because I'm thinking about Billie Eilish and Swarm, is like if you want to see a guest star not living up to her potential in a show, look no further than the most recent, at the time of this recording, Mandalorian episode starring Lizzo and Jack Black.
Oh, I've seen clips of that.
Yeah,
they're like married with Baby Yoda.
Well, Baby Yoda's just there, but they're married, in the show.
Lizzo and Jack Black in The Mandalorian? What?
Yeah, it's not. People are not feeling this episode, and it's not Lizzo and Jack Black is just a piece of why they're not feeling it. It's not the whole thing. It's because the episode just feels like it's just really outside of the realm of like what the main story is supposed to be. It's very much a filler episode, but it's just the fact
I remember
that,
I remember they had Meg Thee Stallion on She-Hulk, I think.
Yeah, but at least like when she was in She-Hulk, she doesn't dominate the show. She's very much a guest star. And then on top of that, like when she is there, it's like, okay, what's the Marvel universe? It's supposed to take place in modern day. Like it just means that Megan Thee Stallion exists in the Marvel universe as herself, but still she's there. Versus this is like, it's a thing where like the best thing about Star Wars is that they always hire actors that aren't like mega famous, or if they do, they like put them in either costume or makeup or something.
Like
so it's not
Princess
right. It's not distracting when you see them because you're like, oh, well, they're just like they're in the getup. Sometimes it even surprises you. You find out who that is. Like, oh man, that was that person. Oh, that's so cool. Like having Lizzo, who's one of the most famous pop stars right now, and Jack Black, Jack Black is a presence in and of himself. Anything he's in, the man just like has an air about him that you're like, that's Jack Black. Even in Super Mario Brothers, people are like, as soon as he opens his mouth as Bowser, people are like, that's Jack Black. Like he just has that in him. It's distracting. It pulls you out of the entire show because you're like, I'm not watching The Mandalorian anymore. I'm just watching two celebrities hang out on a Star Wars set.
Well, I mean, you always have those filler episodes, so they were trying to make the filler episodes sparkle.
Right. Speaking of Jack Black, oh, there's Cheddar. Speaking of Jack Black,
Cheddar's done messed up your mic because now the cord's all wonky.
I'm trying to keep keep him away from jumping on the actual cord, and then I made it worse. Just ignore the orange cat.
Speaking of not speaking of cheddar. Speaking of
I
Jack Black.
just ignore him.
Speaking of Jack Black, I forgot to mention that I also watched Super Mario Brothers movie.
What's your mini review? What do you think?
It was enjoyable. I said it before the podcast. Oh, we got that ASMR. um it was like, I appreciated that they put all of they tried to at least put as many of the games into one movie as possible. Some of the connections as to how they, connected the storylines of the different, games was a little loose, but I appreciate the effort, and it was fun. We had a couple references to like blowing on the game to get it to work. And there were actual moments where the characters were actually, playing the game. They would hop up on there's a scene where, Princess Peach teaches Mario how to,
How to platform?
yeah, how to do all that stuff. Um, and that was really fun to see that they didn't just make it like a real world. They didn't just translate it into the real world or whatever. You're very much still in the world of Super Mario Brothers. You're in the world of the game as well.
Nice. What'd you
Yeah.
think of the
And
voice cast?
I thought they were good. I thought, I actually thought Chris Pratt did a good job. Like, because I didn't recognize, because he wasn't just Chris
That's
Pratt.
what I've been hearing. A lot of people have been saying Chris Pratt's okay, actually, as Mario.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not like, I wouldn't give him an Oscar, but he didn't sound like Chris Pratt. He had like Chris Pratt with a New York, like Brooklyn accent that I thought wasn't terrible. And
I think that's why they were keep reminding people that like Super Mario is for kids, not the adults. Because if you're watching it not as an adult being expecting like Mario, then yeah, you'll probably enjoy it a little bit more without having that expectation of that cheesy accent and just
right,
having somebody doing a good voiceover for a character that seems fitting. And Super
and
Mario comes off as a New York plumber.
right, and they addressed that at the beginning of the film, why they don't have the accents that you hear in the video game. Yeah, they very much like cloak it as these are plumbers and they're putting on a commercial and they have to hype up, the the thick Italian accents, but that's not really them.
So I'm so confused now. The way you have described, I've not seen real previews that much for Super Mario. Is it that they're characters in a video game, or is it that these are like actual
They're
living characters having a day to day life?
they're they start off, they're living in Brooklyn, they're plumbers, and they're like, we need to get our plumbing business off and going. And then stuff happens and they get transported into this magical sewer where they have to save the land of Super Mario.
The Mushroom Kingdom.
Mushroom Kingdom.
Is that canon, or is that just like something they created for the?
I think in the video games they just exist in that
In the world.
worlds. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my audio is just going to be terrible at the beginning of this.
Well, check both ends of the connection. Just make sure they're good.
Cheddar literally stepped on the other end, so we'll see.
That's all right, Alex. You know why?
I seriously regret telling you it's my birthday. I really do.
Also,
for the audience, folks. For the audience, you better get to YouTube right now.
Originally, at the beginning of the episode, or beforehand, we were trying to figure out where things were placed. Jonathan mentioned that his birthday was a certain day in May, and I went and was like, what's a coincidence? Today's my birthday. And it's not that I was like hiding it, but I just really didn't talk about it. I'm not really big on my birthday. Never really have been, and this year I didn't really feel like doing anything either. I guess I could have told you all when we went to go see Dungeons and Dragons on Friday. Could have made that a little birthday thing, but it was like we all got there. And that is also the movie we are reviewing. Aha! I
Okay,
got
Yeah.
in there.
she got away from that
I got
quick.
in there. Yeah, we're reading Dungeons and Dragons. Came out like March 31st. I don't even know when it came out, but it was good.
So, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons:
It came
Honor
out on
Among
the
Thieves.
31st of March. Is when it
I may
came
have
out.
done this like coming into this, but I also am not usually the one who does it, so I was not prepared with dates or actors' names or anything like that.
Well, I
So
just have
you
to be
guys take
looking
it
at the
from here.
calendar, so that's why.
Sorry.
Yes, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. It came out a couple weeks ago, and that is the movie that we're going to be discussing. Is what was I about to read? When I was reading the log line, I was about to read one of the reviews. Dungeons and Dragons is a film that fails to deliver. No, Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah.
is is a charming is about a
Fails.
charming is about a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers who embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. It stars
Mhm.
Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, rege-jean Page, Justice Smith, Sophia
Did you say
Lillis.
reggae?
Yeah, that's his name.
Isn't it Rege? I've been calling
It's
Rege-jean
reggae.
for like ever. Oh, my bad.
Is it rege-jean? Rege-jean?
Rege-jean Page. Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant, among others. This is based obviously off of the Dungeons and Dragons game phenomenon.
Coming from Hasbro.
Yes. And we're going to talk about it. Jerome, since I feel like you are perhaps the most familiar with the tabletop role playing game, what did you think of Honor Among Thieves?
Well, firstly, I wanted to pull up the Rotten Tomato score because I'm curious how people are feeling it. This movie's doing great. It's got 90% fresh on the tomato meter from critics, 94% audience score. This movie's doing great. It's doing good. Which leans into my review. I love this movie. This movie's great. I love this film a lot. As a person who's played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop role play games, um, uh, it just it captures so much of the spirit of Dungeons and Dragons. I think, especially because it does two things really well. Number one, it captures the spirit of like just playing the game, like how you're just with your friends, and like sometimes your friends like playing characters, so they like being that dramatic person or whatever, and just like, yes, I am a knight and I am here to defend the honor of yada yada yada. Or they're just like, dude, I'm just here to have some fun. Look, where are we at? Is there gold? Okay, I steal it. And it's just like there's both types of D&D players. Sometimes they're in the same party. Sometimes there's a whole party that's just one or the other. And this movie does a great job of capturing that, the fun of that. But also, this movie does a great job of establishing the world of Dungeons and Dragons, like the lands, the characters. They mention a lot of stuff by name that is canon to the D&D world of like Waterdeep, and you see a displacer beasts, some mimics, owl bears, tons of different spells that if you know how the spells work, you're like, oh yeah, I know that spell, or magical items. So it's clear that whoever made this movie, they did a lot of research and a lot of like just deep diving to figure out like all the things they wanted to put in there to make the story feel that much more concrete and have a lot of Easter eggs in there for D&D fans. But the nice thing about that is they don't mention it. Like they don't try and do a wink at the camera like, it's that item from the game. Get it? Ha. Like no, they don't do that. They're just like, no, this is the world. These are just normal things to these people. And if you play D&D, you'll know what they are and you know how they work. If you haven't played D&D, you can just watch the movie and have a good time and enjoy it. and just be like, oh, okay, there's this magic item now. That's what that does. So I think the movie is great in that front. Also, the actors are just fantastic. Chris Pine carries a lot of the weight of this movie, and he does it very well. Michelle Rodriguez is fantastic, actually. This is one of the few roles where I'm like, man, like you're doing it, like you're acting, and not just playing tough girl number whatever. Like you're like you're a character, and she was really good in this movie. I liked her a lot in this film. And all the other actors, of course, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis. I wish rege-jean had been in the movie more. He's not in it for very long, but when he is in
Yeah,
it, he's
the way
he's
they
pretty
presented him,
decent.
I assumed he was going to be like solid part of the group.
Yeah, like it's weird how little he's in the film, despite how much of the promotional material he's in.
Oh,
Oh,
That
you're
guy,
talking.
Jonathan's like,
Are
you
you okay?
goddamn right. Ah! Just knock the camera. Justice for reggae. Ah!
It was really Gibson. He was super offended by that.
for real.
It was like,
He
yeah,
mean he's not in the
And I knew
movie.
that was gonna happen too. When
he's like, all those previews I watched were for nothing.
you
He's like, what did I do?
Hugh Grant also is fantastic as well. Shout out to Hugh Grant. And if I have one criticism, is that this movie is pretty long for what it is. And that wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing if it was for the fact that by the time they hit the third act, the movie becomes very predictable. The first two acts are very strong. And in that third act, I was like, I feel like I know what's going to happen because it's doing a lot of those same beats that are in every adventure movie. Not that that's like a major criticism. It's just a minor thing, but it's something I noticed where I was like, man, you guys were doing a lot of surprising different stuff. And now you're hitting this finale that I'm like, I feel like I've seen in other movies. Visually, it's not like anything I've seen in other movies because they're using Dungeons and Dragons like spells and items, all that stuff. But as far as like what's happening, I'm like, this has happened in multiple movies. And I don't know. That was just like a thing where I was like, man, I wish you guys had more surprises on that back end. But overall, it's without spoiling anything. Really love the movie. It's really strong. Can't wait for them to maybe make another one if they have plans to make another one. And I hope it's this cast if they make another one. And they don't just like, but it'd also be cool if they just make a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons like anthology movies where each of them are different parties. That'd be fun too.
I think when they were making this movie, they had the intention of bringing back this cast because of what happens in the movie, and we'll talk about it in our spoiler section. But like you, I was shocked at how little rege-jean Page was in it. At the end, when whoops, I'm getting into spoilers.
Like I said, Gibson clearly was too. Your dog is messing up your video. My cat's messing up our audio.
It's just that
the good idea about not living with pets right now.
I mean, it's just that rege-jean is like literally on every poster for this movie, every trailer he's in it. Like you would think he's one of like the main characters, and he's really not. He's very much a supporting character.
There was a single promo based like on him too. I remember seeing it on Gibson looks like he just gave up on life. There's a whole promo where I see it's solely focused on him and him being in the film. And pretty much in that promo are all the shots of him in the film. They pretty much show you that whole portion of him in the film in that TikTok. That's when I was like, oh, I thought he would be a major part of the cast, but he was really a side cast.
Yeah. Alex, were your initial thoughts or overall thoughts of the movie?
I agree that it felt like it ran a little too long. Like that would probably be my best, but I loved it. I had fun the entire time I was watching it. I was laughing. I absolutely adore Chris Pine, so it was just seeing great in that. And I do love that they gave him a chance to actually sing, because he has a surprisingly good voice. And I thought the storytelling was like really easy to follow when it came to that. They didn't make it, because a lot of times, sometimes with fantasy movies or things like that, they come in with this whole bunch of lore and really complicated back history that they'll kind of tell you offhandedly, and you're like, I still feel like I'm missing something. But this was all really simple lore, very simple, and things easy to follow. You knew what was going on, what part of whose history belonged to whose. and just some major scenes that were just had me cracking up so hard I wasn't prepared for. But yeah, I initially just enjoyed the film. It was fun and like I would definitely like watch it again. I wouldn't lie. I feel like if I watch it again, I'll find those little parts that I missed, being like, "Oh, I see that foreshadowing now." But
I
I was
I
just really
forgot
immersed
to
in the film.
I forgot to ask you after we watched, because we watched this movie at the Regal in Screen X with like the screen on the walls and stuff too on the side. How was that for you, Alex?
I enjoyed it because Chris Pine was never out of my peripheral view.
It took my girlfriend by surprise. She was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
I actually enjoyed it. Fun thing about when we went, I went the only single person with four couples.
4
I was
couples.
there was four
Yeah, because it
couples,
was Jasmine and Al. Well, Al 1, Al 2, and Chandra. Me and Ari and Lauren and Cameron. So
and then there was me.
How was that? That must have been an experience.
Thankfully, I feel like Lauren and Cameron are used to like just adopting me for the night. They're like, You'll stay by us." So, I think Lauren has just gotten used to me doing that, which I really appreciate because I was like, I'm gonna just kind of tag on to you, but I forgot I had a potluck the next day. So when we exited the film, I kind of was distracted with counting how much bacon I needed to bring to this potluck to work. So while everybody was chatting, I'm literally over on the sidelines being like, all right, there's 15, like doing a fucking math problem. There's 15 people, and if each person has two pieces of bacon, how much bacon do I need to bring? And what length of bacon is acceptable to be considered bacon and not just a little piece of bacon? Let's do math of bacon after the Dungeons Dragons movie. So that was also a weird thing that happened. But I like the X. What's it called? SpaceX?
oh,
No,
Screen
that's
X.
Screen X. SpaceX
SpaceX.
is ridiculous.
It's like, no, we don't
Is it-
support SpaceX no more. All right, Elon has to go down.
I agree. Let him fall. Uh, Screen X, which was really good because I thought it was fun and then I was able to keep like my head moving. I
I've only
enjoyed
ever
it.
watched Screen X in one other time. I watched Black Widow that way, in Screen X, and that was my first time doing it. And it makes me think of like what Cinerama tried to be, in that it takes 3 projectors to do it, to show it on both sides. But it was kind of
I
Like
cool.
the pause after Cinerama, the shade to Cinerama. Cinerama tried to be.
I
I
watched
mean, it's
some.
true.
Yeah, it had to.
Cinerama did not succeed when it first. No. The Cinerama like movie format, not the
Oh,
theaters. No, the
well,
movie
them
format
two,
of
they need to be
Cinerama.
shaded.
Shade them all. I watched
Mhm.
some other movie in Screen X and it was some horror film that I can't remember now. But
I've never watched the
I
Screen X.
you should. It's not. I think it's interesting. It's really nice when you have movies that are outdoors. I feel like if you have movies that are just in a room, it's just you see more walls. But like in this movie with Dungeons and Dragons, they're outside a lot, so you have like the nature view surrounding you the entire time, and I enjoyed that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What were your initial thoughts about the movie?
I, like you guys, enjoyed it. So when I first walked into the movie, like I mentioned, I watched Super Mario Brothers, and I watched both of these movies on the same day. So watch Super Mario Brothers, coming from a movie with a lot of children in the movie, and then so this movie was immediately after super, like it was timed perfectly so that, because with AMC and their 5011 commercials,
Hmm.
or previews, it's
Yeah,
almost exactly
yo.
25 minutes.
I'm sorry, I
uh
don't mean to
a-
cut you off, but like it was nice to watch a movie and Nicole Kidman doesn't show up at a Regal. We were watching it at a Regal, so
No,
like no Nicole Kidman.
but
uh,
yeah, but hold on. There's something else I want to add to that, but we'll get that in part into spoilers. Continue your thoughts.
okay, I was so I didn't see Nicole Kidman either, but that's because I timed it perfectly so that I walked into the theater as soon as like for Super Mario Brothers, the IMAX thing was showing up. And then for Dungeons and Dragons, it was like the movie started or the Super Mario Brothers movie ended like 25 minutes after or 30 minutes after. What am I trying to say?
The
The
Dungeons
Super
and
Mario.
Dragons started.
The trailers
Yes.
had for Dungeons and Dragons had
Yeah.
ended.
Yes. And so when I walked into Dungeons and Dragons, all I see is so all the lights are like up. It's like not even the, dim lights before you get to the complete dim when the movie starts. Like all of the lights are just up in the theater. And then the screen is like pulsating with the Dungeons and Dragons logo. And it's like, and you hear like this wind sound or something. Did you guys have this before you watched the movie? I don't know what
Nope.
AMC was on, but like everybody's just staring at the movie, and I'm walking into the other side of the theater, and it's just it's for a
I
good
won't lie.
solid.
I would have walked out. That sounds like some Twilight shit where you get Twilight Zone shit where you get sucked into something.
And I was like, why are the lights completely on? Because well, I'd like to walk in a little incognito, like so, because I'm clearly walking in there right before the movie starts. But it's just the Dungeons and Dragons logo. It's like red and it's like pulsating and it's like, and then you see the actors. Hey, welcome to Dungeons and Dragons. You're here watching a movie how it should be watched. Which I hate when they do that. By the way,
That's what they're gonna
Me
mention in the
too. I'm
spoiler.
getting
I was
tired
like,
of
that was
this.
the most passive aggressive shit ever. I
Well,
looked Lauren.
what it
I was like,
is,
this felt personal as fuck.
they're still trying to do that, like, because that
for
start. I mean,
from
it happened
COVID,
before, but now it's been more frequent because of COVID. Of them being like, "Thanks for being in the theater," and I'm like, "Dude, don't thank me. You could thank me by showing me the damn movie I paid to see. I've already sat through 20 minutes of trailers. I don't need to see you you and your cast sitting on stools and chairs trying to be like, oh well, thanks for watching. Yes,
I
bitch.
bought the
Let me watch the movie."
It's not only that, like I've seen it before in the other films, but like this cast really were not into it either. They were like,
True.
yeah,
Yeah, you could tell they were just
they were
reading what they
really
had to
like,
read.
they're like, we appreciate you coming to see this movie. Thank you for watching it. How like that was straight up script reading. Somebody was there with cue cards and all that shit. Like there was no passion. They were like, even they were like, this is dumb. They're already here. Why do we need to call them heroes for seeing a movie? Which I was like, really? That me
yeah,
coming
they
to
called us heroes. I
It's
felt
yeah,
so
that was
it's
so
multiple
belittling. That was
times.
it
so
screams.
condescending.
Multiple times.
You know what it feels like? This feels like conversations that the superheroes and the boys have when they're talking to their fans. Like it's so PR. It's so like clearly written by a marketing team. Nothing's from the heart. Like, like and especially because at least with most of the time when they do this type of stuff, it's either like the main actor says something, like the main character, or the whole cast. This one, half the cast didn't say anything. Rege-jean, he was there, he didn't say nothing. Justice Smith,
So
Sophia
in
Lillis,
mine,
none of them said anything.
in mine, I don't know if it was different, but in mine, Reggae Jean Page said like the majority of the stuff.
And ours, it was Chris Pine.
It was Chris Pine and
Oh,
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, and then Hugh Grant said a little something.
Hugh Grant said like the end part where he's like, "Thanks for watching and enjoy the film."
Yeah, I think so. But it's like the other three, they didn't say anything. They're just sitting there.
They were going,
Yeah, stop doing this, Hollywood. Stop having your cast like uncomfortably sit in front of us for an extra 2 minutes
You
behind the
know,
extra 25 I had to sit through trailers that are on
it
the
really
internet
feels
for
like
and tell me that they're glad I'm here to watch this movie. Stop it.
it
it's
feels
like
like when you go over to somebody's house and they're thanking you for being there, and you're like, "Oh yeah, it's cool. We want to take out." No, I really appreciate you coming over. Okay,
okay,
yeah, like it's gonna be a more fun night because you're here. Ooh, okay.
got it. All right,
Maybe can I
thanks.
just sit
Let's
down the
just get
chips
on with the
and talk?
night.
Yeah.
Let's get on with
Let
the
me
night.
yeah, let me go past the front door and sit down, hang up my jacket. You don't need to stop me right here.
Right, because it's like you gotta watch, and it's funny. We're talking about this, and we're not getting into the review, so this is probably what our
Look, God damn it. All right, look, y'all, if you're
This is
watching
a
this on
serious
YouTube or
issue.
Spotify or anything, you can skip ahead if you don't want to hear all this. But you signed up to listen to this hour-long podcast, so you go listen to us complain about this shit.
That's right.
But what I was gonna say, you watch the Regal please silence your cell phones, or what, or the AMC, whatever. No talking, no texting. Don't ruin the movie. And then you get into Nicole Kidman's behind, and then you and then you gotta watch the cast talk about, like, we're glad you're here. We really appreciate you watching a movie how it's supposed to be watched, when we're already have our butts in the seats. We've paid for the movie. Like, we want to see what we've paid for. Like, give us a discount if you're gonna do all this in front of it. All right.
Especially because it's like
And
that,
then,
and all that comes after you've spent 20 something odd minutes watching movie trailers, and that's after you watch Noovie, which is another extra like 5-10 minutes showing you like behind the scenes clips and doing stupid
Maybe
trivia
trim
with
up so
random
much
celebrities.
beginning fat, and you don't have to thank us for coming. Like, honestly, that would be the thing. Just trimming some of that little extra fat at the beginning. Check out
John Wick didn't thank nobody for coming. John Wick was like, "You want to get to people killing people? All right, I got you." Just let the movie
John Wick
start.
knew what you were. He's like, all right, we all know why you're here. Let's just do these insane stunts.
I will never, though, forgive Oppenheimer. I don't want to see that movie for that reason.
To be fair, that's not Oppenheimer's fault. That Christopher Nolan has done that for like his past like 4 or 5 movies of having like extra long, like little, here's a piece of the movie before your movie. Because remember when they did that for Dunkirk too, where
Yeah.
Dunkirk had that long segment from Dunkirk.
But with Oppenheimer, it made it look like, and I was not warned, it made it look like I was going into the movie. I literally checked to make sure I was in the right movie. I was like, I thought I was watching Nope, but I'm watching this Christopher Nolan
Dude, Nope
movie.
had
I was
the
so mad.
3 trailers that made you feel like it was the start of the film. You're like, okay, oh no, it's a trailer. Oh, okay. And you're like, I feel like I'm being lied to, and I can't tell which is the real movie.
Real quick, you guys remember we had Tomorrowland at the IMAX and that happened? Where they
Mhm.
had that whole long, or not, they didn't have Tomorrowland, but we had some movie that had Tomorrowland in front of it, like a big section of the movie as in IMAX, and people were walking out like, this is the movie, like, this movie I paid for, right? It's not Tomorrowland. I'm like, oh yes, it's just a whole like preview thing. Don't even worry about it.
Even when we gave those stupid speeches, like, "Hey, this is the beginning," people were like, "Are we sure this is not?" Because that's like just the beginning of Tomorrowland. This is the start
You
of
have
the
to
film.
warn people so they didn't walk out.
We know.
Mm-hmm.
But getting into the actual film we watched, Dungeons
Complaints
and
over.
Go do your Jonathan. Do your little exclaimer.
Well, yeah. For those who don't know, after we do our general thoughts, we do our spoilers review. So we're about to get into the spoilers section of Dungeons and Dragons. So if you haven't seen D&D Honor Among Thieves, go watch it, then come back. And pause this, go watch it, then come back, listen to the rest of the review. We'll talk about the movie from this point forward. We promise. No more distractions of sidebar conversations.
Well, we can't promise that.
We can't promise that. That's true.
Both are fair comments.
But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Here we go. Where do we want to start? Let's start with Michelle Rodriguez in that cameo because that was the legitimate, the most legitimate surprise for me. This whole movie is Bradley Cooper showing up as a halfling in this movie. I was like, holy shit. Bradley Cooper
that was
as a halfling?
most random, because Bradley Cooper does not strike me as the person who does cameos usually. Like, he's not a Ryan Reynolds or a Channing Tatum. I could see either one of those people in this role.
I was waiting for Channing Tatum to pop up. Oddly enough, I was thinking, I'm like, I bet he snuck into this film some way somehow. For some reason, I thought that.
Well, here's the thing. This is, you know why it has to be Bradley Cooper though? Because this is a cameo that isn't about being funny. Like, it's a cameo, but it's like it's a dramatic cameo. Like who would have done this cameo, which I'm glad is Bradley Cooper. They had to act because it's a very serious scene with Holga, Michelle Rodriguez's character. So it's you can't just have it just be a goofy one where it's like, hey, it's Ryan Reynolds. It's like, no, that wouldn't fit.
They kind of set it up to be, the setting in a way was kind of comedic, where he's sitting on the chair and his feet is dangling off the.
Yeah, that was my only other issue with the canon a little bit, because halflings are not just little people. Like Like halflings are like they're relatively normal size. They're just short. It's the equivalent of like in the real world where we have little people in our world or people who have dwarfism. That is halflings in the D&D world. They're not just shrunken people, which is what it looks like in this movie where I'm like that's weird that it's just shrunken people. As opposed to just or more like Lord of the Rings where hobbits are halflings. That's what Bradley Cooper should have looked like. And so it's weird
Well, they
that
were just trying to
they
make it
didn't go
more
with that.
comedic instead of like serious.
I
Because it's one
guess.
thing to have like just a short person, but this was like a tiny man. Where even they were like, are you guys serious?" And Chris Pine's character was like, "Yeah, I was surprised too, but you love who you love."
Also, I love though that the cameo isn't the joke. I mean, it kind of is in that the setting of like the big house and he's a small person. But I love that the joke is that he has a thing for big women because that other lady walks in and I'm like, God damn, like
And
what
then
is it with you and big lady?
and then there's the joke that she only likes the halflings because the one at the end she like gives a wink to.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
she's
Did
only
yeah,
into little people. She likes them
uh
small.
hey, easier to just like put in your pocket and move on.
My girlfriend made a joke. She's like, she likes them fun sized.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I really, I Helga, like everything involving her was awesome, especially when they went to the graveyard. And the graveyard, I think, is one of everybody's favorite scenes where they dug
Oh,
up
absolutely.
her
Yeah.
family. She's like, "We dug up my ancestors on sacred grounds."
That scene alone is one of the best, mostly because I'm like, there are some DMs that are that mean. Of like, you'll just ask a confirming question, like, so it's 4 questions, right? Yes. No, wait, that wasn't a question. It's like,
I
no,
only
no,
answer when
I
I speak
said
to
5
you.
questions. You shouldn't have asked 5 questions just in the general vicinity. I don't know what you want from me. There's some DMs that are like that. They are that mean where you're just like, God dang it.
But yeah, that whole scene I think was great. The way they conducted themselves, and to the point where he was like, "All right, you do still have to ask questions, 5 questions, so they can go back to being dead." So he's trying to think of 5 questions. He's like, "What's your favorite color? What's your favorite book?" And the guy's like, "Well, that one's complicated."
and they
It's like,
left
all
the
right.
one guy on
Yeah,
3
Was
or
that
on
well,
Taika
4.
Waititi? That sounded like him.
I
Oh,
don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. This has his vibe,
they
but
probably had some cameos in there.
I mean, if it's not
Oh,
him, that's yeah.
no, comedy group Auntie Donna provided voices for corpses for the Australian release. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
For the
okay.
Australian release of the film.
Oh.
uh, Bradley
I'm
Cooper,
not seeing him on this cast list, so I don't think that was
probably
him.
not.
Mm-mm.
But her character was great. I love how intelligent she was too. They didn't just make her into like a dumb fighter, because a lot of the jokes I've seen for D&D is that barbarians are just stupid and fight. When she was talking, before she was about to get her head cut off, she was talking to the guard about his weapon and being, and like it was very articulated, talking about taking care of the metal and the material of it and the craftsman work. And it was very insightful. And she was like, "Oh, she knows her stuff." They made her a very intelligent person still. And I enjoyed that. Again, like a lot of the jokes I've seen for like the barbarians, they're supposed to be pretty stupid, right?
Depends. A lot of
Otherwise,
people normally they make barbarians either like dumb or they make them like bloodthirsty like fight monsters where all they think about is I want to kill it. And it's like, okay, we're just here to talk to this person. Okay, but can I kill him after? No. We're just here to talk to this person. Like,
yeah,
I
there's
mean, I
a
don't ever get to kill
well,
things.
TikToker I follow. He does a bunch of D&D stuff and makes jokes, and that's all I see with him in the barbarian is like him just attacking things with a sword. That's
Yeah,
the
especially
barbarian.
when barbarians are half orcs, a lot of people like to play them like as far as role playing wise, like dumb, like the dumb strong person. That's their thing. Um, I think sometimes it works. Sometimes like Travis Willingham plays Grog, who's in The Legend of Vox Machina, which is based off of the D&D show Critical Role, and his version of of Grog the Barbarian. Yeah, he's dumb, but he's also lovable and sweet. He's just a simple barbarian, uh, half orc who just or giant. I think half giant, something like that. Um, but you're right. I think Michelle Rodriguez, they give her a lot to do, and she gets to show off her physicality and strength as a barbarian. And she plays like the way they use the action sequence with her. I like the the innovativeness and creativeness of her action sequences. It's not as simple as, well, she has an axe, so she uses the axe. It's like, no, you're a barbarian. Literally nothing in this room is not a weapon to you if you make the right rolls. You could literally just like when she turns the bow into a weapon, her chains into a weapon. She's just
The
slamming
potato.
people everywhere. A
Yeah,
brick,
the
a
potato.
potato, like
I
anything, like
think
any
that
and
scene where
everything's a
she's
weapon.
fighting in the armory is a fantastic way to show that she was fighting with everything. Basically, that wasn't a weapon originally, like with the hammer, with the materials, with the fire and everything like that. And then when she uses bow, not as an actual bow, but as its own separate weapon, was very, again, creative, very a different way to use things. I think that also showed her range of like ability of how to fight. And then her
Mhm.
actual physical fighting scenes, hand to hand combat, were really good, very versatile. It was.
Yeah, they were I love the creativity with their action sequences in this movie. Or just the creativity in general. This felt like a very elaborate D&D campaign, like easily. Um because the heist elements too were like very creative of
Yeah.
how exactly they're like, oh, well, we can't use the helmet. Oh, we don't need to. We got the hither thither wand. It's like, oh.
I like Justin Smith's character too. Simon. He was a half elf. Oh, he was half elf? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he's a half elf wild magic
Elf of
sorcerer.
that's a mouthful. Um his character was one of my favorite characters. I was surprised by that. And again, he played the stereotypic role of like the level 1 wizard that dies over anything, but he
Well,
doesn't die.
he's like, I love the wild magic sorcerer angle. I've played that character before in D&D of like the sorcerer who's unsure of himself and not good at his abilities, which is what wild magic sorcerers are, is sorcerers who aren't good at using magic yet. Um but he has his character had a lot of heart, and I love his like small I love that he is does have a small pining for Sophie. Is it Sophia or is it Sophie?
Sophia.
Sophia Lillis.
Yeah, Sophia Lillis's character, but that doesn't hijack the movie. Is him just that isn't his character. Is just constantly trying to get with this girl. It's just like that's just a thing. It's a part of their dynamic, but it's not the focus at any point in the movie, which was nice. Because in a lesser movie, it'd be like, yeah, but let's get back to these two trying to make it work. It's like, no, we don't have time for that. We're trying to get things done.
Yeah.
Which I just looked on her Wikipedia. I cannot believe she is already 21 because I remember her in um It.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kids are growing up.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that was her.
hmm
Yeah.
Her
That's
character was the
awesome.
most interesting because I love the her being a part of like this group of essentially like druids and rangers and stuff. Like that was really cool. Um and I love her like weapons. Like she has a little slingshot on her arm, which is cool. And also her being a tiefling, very interesting. I wish they had gotten into that a little bit more of what tieflings are,
What is a
but
tiefling?
tieflings are half demon, half human people.
Is that why she had a tail?
Yeah, she has like a devil tail. It has a point. She has a pointed tail and horns, which tieflings can have like different types of horns, different type of tails. That's more like character, like physical thing. Depending on who the player is, they can determine what that looks like. Because there's some players who like, yeah, I have ram horns or I have bull horns or whatever. But regardless, like the point is, one of your parents is a demon. And sometimes some people have tieflings that look like humans, and others they're like, yeah, my tiefling has red skin, he clearly looks like the devil. um, or he has
It's
like
gonna make it known.
um
I Can we talk about Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant
Uh,
was
and
cool, man. I like when
yeah,
he plays a
I,
villain, when he plays the
so
bad guy.
I truly believed him more as a villain, mainly because did you guys see his interview on the Oscars red carpet?
No.
He was like, a lot of people on the internet were upset, including like kind of myself, because he was not having it. He was like, I don't want to be here. Basically, he didn't say that, but he said that without saying it.
With his body
Um,
language and stuff.
yes, and I'd heard that he has a reputation of being like not the friendliest person, so I bought him as a villain in this film, and I thought he did a good job.
I think at a certain point, older actors are just the same as everybody. They're like, I don't want to be here on my Friday night. I want to be home. I'm only here because I am in a new film and I have to do publicity. I have to be seen. But like
Mm.
honestly, I just want to be home in my fuzzy slippers, reading a book right now or watching
They
TV.
they say that there's actually like at the end of red carpets on premiere nights for movies and stuff, there's a little exit walkway too. So you can walk down the thing and then you can walk on that exit runway and you'll just get back onto the street and you can leave. So a lot of celebrities, they have their cars parked over there so they can just leave as soon as the red carpet and all that publicity, all the interviews are done. They just walk off and they're like, okay, and now I'm leaving. Bye.
Not even watch the movie.
Yeah, they don't even watch the movie because, I think I forget. I think it was Tom Hiddleston said one time he left a premiere and watched the movie at another theater where he wouldn't get recognized. He was like, I kind of want to just chill out with like regular people. I don't want to watch it with all these celebrities.
I mean, yeah, I'd probably be like talking. It'd be like, hey, that's your shit. And it's like, yeah, I know. Watch the film. Shh. Stop trying to talk to me. Whatever person sitting next to me, stop trying to talk to me. Hugh Grant's character, I love that he played like the bumbling idiot too at the same time. Like he was a villain, but also he was like it was totally his ego and everything like that, where he was like, yes, I'm here for the money, and that's it. He's like, he felt like a reality star contestant. I'm here for myself and the money, and that's it. I'm not here to
I'm
make
not here to
friends.
make friends. Yes.
That's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm. He was pretty great as a villain. Although it was kind of obvious that he's the
And
villain.
they didn't belabor it. They
Yeah, they
introduced
didn't
him as
waste
the villain
time.
pretty quickly into the start of the film.
Yeah, that was pretty decent. They didn't waste any time getting to it.
All of a sudden it was like, all right, yeah, I've brought together this ragtag group who I've met along the way, and it's like, oh, never mind, you've betrayed us.
I will tell you the person who I think like if they do another one, I want to see more of. I mean, you kind of mentioned it in the initial thoughts. Rege-jean, his character's so interesting. Like not only with his backstory, but also with his abilities as a like paladins are very strong. I'm sure that's why he's not in the movie very much because paladins, like as far as this movie being so dedicated to D&D canon and trying to be very dedicated to like these are the spells they have, these are the abilities they have. I mean, you have Holga who's like who can beast anything, which is what barbarians can do in D&D. I'm sure they didn't have his character in there because in reality he would have solved the entire thing in like 5 minutes. Like he has Smite Evil is one of the most powerful spells any character can have, especially paladins. It makes it where you could literally just murk bosses with one strike because if it's evil, you can smite it. So they were like, we can't have him at the
Well,
end. He
it
would kill the lady on for one swipe and kill her instantly.
so it like makes sense why he's not fully in the film, but why was he advertising all that? Like literally, when you see the advertising, it's him, Chris Pine, and Michelle Rodriguez. It makes it look like they were like the main trio or something, but it was really them two and like Justice Smith.
Justin Smith and Sophia
They
Lillis.
really did
Yeah.
just do Justin Smith dirty. That's what they did.
Well, he's in there
He's,
too, but it's like they like because
he's
he's
in
in
there
the promotional
far more.
material too. But it's a thing where it is weird that
Not
they
like him.
marketed the
Not
movie
like
so
him.
much with Rege-jean, despite how much he's not in the film. Now, granted, when he is in the film, though, he's phenomenal. His acting is on point. It reminded me a lot of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But he like his but there's a lot of people play paladins that way also. But it's like his skills, his abilities, his action sequences were great. Like he's just a great character in general. And the way the movie ends off, it makes it seem like he might come back if they do more, as like a character who's a part of the crew. But who knows, you know.
I like at the end when he's walking away and Chris Pine's character is like, he's just walking in a straight line. Oh, there's rocks. What is he gonna do? Oh, he's going over the rocks. He walks such a straight line, and he literally just walks over the rocks like nothing. That was so funny. That was such a stupid joke, but it was so funny. And it just like it was stupid little things like that
Yeah.
that I feel like really made this movie. That it wasn't that it made it more fun to just laugh at, and that's what it felt like when you do, because we are playing D&D now with each other. It's the stupid little things in there that are like, this makes you feel like you're playing the game with your friends. This makes you feel like like you remember those moments of just like stupid comments that your players make when you're doing D&D. Like in the D&D game we're playing, I said show me dead bodies, and out of context that sounds weird, but in the game it makes sense, and I stand by that statement.
I
But
mean, Jonathan's
it's
got
like
a whole
little
like other woman out here, like a dark elf woman who's trying to pine for his heart, at the very least, like for his bed. Either way,
exactly. Your social awkwardness to it is great.
Uh-huh.
It fits really well because usually most of the game you're like, let's just go fight people, and I'm armadilloing around. Okay, so like it's just weird context like that make I felt like was really shown in this film, where they have
I
just these weird contexts where you're just like, this is enjoyable, this is stupid, I know what this is like.
yeah. I alluded to it in my initial thoughts, but I think they are definitely trying to at least set up for a sequel because one, the kind of mystery between the mystery surrounding rege-jean Page's character, plus the fact that they brought Michelle Rodriguez back from the dead at the very end. I think that's a telltale sign that, we don't want to kill this character off yet. If it was just one and done, they'd be like, all right, you could die. But they want to have her in the next movie or movies.
Funny enough, I think that's what I mean by like the third, because like after they steal the gold and they leave, and then the red wizard like starts doing her spell thing, I was like, and then they're gonna go back, and then they're gonna fight her, and then they fight her, and it's cool. It's one of the coolest scenes in the whole movie. I was like, this is a pretty epic third act fight. And then when Michelle Rodriguez is stabbed, I'm like, that's what I mean by like the third act gets really predictable. Where it's like, if you've seen a movie with the same
family
vein,
fun feel good movie, they're not gonna just kill her off.
Well, I think no, I didn't want her to die. I just mean like it would have been interesting if they had more like a different surprises. The whole movie's had some great surprises up until that point, using the D&D rules and canon and all that stuff. I was hoping that they were going to still keep doing that, because I'm like, I know it's going to happen. They're going to use the tablet to bring Holga back instead of her mom, and then and then the movie's going to end. Like that's like, so I'm like, again, it's not major, but it's just a thing where I'm like, next movie, now that we've established the characters, like, and we know y'all do y'all's research, like, go at it, go for it, like, make some really cool stuff. Also, anyone think there's gonna be
surprising when the little girl came out of nowhere with the magic suppressant?
Oh yeah, that was
a clever move. That was a surprise to me.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting her, because he's like, oh, stay hidden no matter what. I thought he was just like, stay out of plain sight. I do like that they gave the little girl Sophia Lilith. No. What's the little girl's name? Chloe Coleman.
You mean Chloe Coleman? Yeah, as Kira.
I like that they gave her that little amulet that makes her disappear. In that whole, I like that they also made her. I mean, it sounds bad, but I like it that they brought her into the thief. They made her a thief too. They didn't try to hide her away or be like, oh, just stay home while we do these stuff. they had her come on those adventures. She was a thief with the family. They were like a little found
Oh,
family.
that's what I know her
Right.
from. She was in Marry Me.
Avatar.
No,
Oh,
Marry Me. I
she
didn't
was
know she was
also
an Avatar though.
she was in the Avatar: The Way of Water as young Loak.
She probably just did
I've
the. I
seen
don't think
neither of those.
Young Loak talks. I'm pretty sure she just did probably the mocap for it.
Yeah, I
I've
think
seen neither
so.
of those films. But I've seen this one, and she's fantastic in it. I think she does really well.
Yeah, she's great. Chloe Coleman did a fine job.
Yeah, I think first I recognized her, and I'm just noticing it now from My Spy, that Dave Bautista movie.
Mm-hmm.
But she was good.
Yeah, she was good. You know what I would say is the other minor thing about this movie that I think should have been stronger. They should have stuck with one villain because as the like main villain, because Hugh Grant is the villain, but there's a large chunk of the movie he's not there, and it's because they need to have some time dedicated to explaining the other villain, which is Sophina, played by Daisy Head. And we get like, but she, unlike Hugh Grant, who like, despite our lack of time with him, he's just such a presence, and he just is so funny and charming. Like, you don't need much backstory for him. You're like, I already get it. Like, he's a he's a swindler. He's a charming like bastard. That's his role. Sophia's just the boring like I'm evil, yeah, like that's her character the entire movie. and you're
It's not like
and there
it's
and
not
there's
it's
nothing
not
more
like
than that. It's not,
yeah.
you know what I
It's not
mean?
like
There's
there's a
no
point where
depth.
she redeems herself or anything. It's just like
Well, more just there's no depth to her. Like, you don't know anything about her, why she's a red wizard, what her goals are, past just I have this master and I serve him. Like, that's it. Like, you don't get much past that. And it's kind of weird because everybody else gets more depth. Everybody, even Hugh Grant a little bit, you know?
I like how they made her death kind of funny, and it was
Oh yeah.
gruesome too.
Yeah, the
I was
owl
like,
bear.
Like
I
punched
was
her,
like,
boom, boom, boom.
yeah. They were like they made like Taylor Swift in Amsterdam. They made sure that the audience knew that she was dead.
There was a moment where a bunch of bricks fell on her, and immediately I thought of Secret Life of Pets again.
Secret Life of Pets.
Anytime bricks fall on a person or an animal, I just think about that time where Jonathan tried to reassure me the snake wasn't going to die in Pets of Secret Life of Pets. I was like, oh, like the snake looks dead. No, he'll be fine. Bunch of bricks fall on him. I was like, and then like a corner of a roof out of nowhere in the sewers falls on him. He's like, no, no, no,
Mhm.
it's okay, it's okay. Roof catches on fire. I'm like, I think I don't think he's gonna make it. That's what it felt like when I saw like part of the building fall on her. I was like, I think she's gonna be okay. But like this feels like very deja vu going on for me.
Mhm.
But I did enjoy that. Yeah, the way they took her out was like the best. It was
Yeah, it
like,
was
oh
very
no, no, she's
funny.
fine, she's fine. And then the owl bear owl or owl bear.
Owl bear.
Owl bear punches her just a couple extra times to make sure.
I just
Mhm.
yeah, but I do wish that that they had given more for Sophie, because I like the idea of having the Red Wizards as the main villain. And the way they solve it is very smart. Because I'm like, yeah, you all of you are clearly not leveled up high enough to beat this villain, like by yourselves. You need something like I don't know how you're gonna do it, but you're gonna need some help. And so when they put the magic suppression on there, I was like, okay, cool.
I
Um,
Well,
Can
I mean, they
can
did come in like a real like group where they all just kind of attacked as best they could. Like Chris Pine's character, the bard, hits her with his lute repeatedly. She's
mm.
like, "Knock it off,
can we also talk about Jonathan?
Oh, Jonathan,
Jordan!"
Jonathan.
At first, I did think they were saying Jonathan, but no, it's Jonathan,
And he gets
and
Sure.
like he's an
he's
arrow
just the
croaker
punching
bar,
bag.
which is
I
sad
felt
because
bad
yeah,
for
they're
him.
like, we just approved your your thing, man. What are you doing?
Wait, but we
And then
approve.
I love the callback at the end where Hugh Grant's in the same situation and he tries to do the same thing.
Yeah, and then there's a brick wall. They're like, nah, bro, we already like we've seen this before. You're not slick. You're going to jail.
And as they're dragging him away, he's like, "I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know what came over me. I'm sorry." Poor Jonathan, just on the floor, like, "Oh, again." I think that was one of the best things ever. The way he just kept interrupting his story, being like, "Is Jonathan coming?" Or like, "What? Like, is he gonna be here soon?" Like,
I
was great.
just thinking of Jonathan, I appreciate the level of practical effects in this movie. Though, I mean, there is CG in here for sure, and so there's like the owl bear CG. You see a serpent person in the beginning of this movie that's CG, so it's like they use CG here and there, but there's
You
times where
could
they
tell that
decide to use
Jonathan was in a
practical.
costume. Yeah.
Yeah, like even or the bold dude sitting next to on that council too. It's like I think he was semi-practical. And I appreciate that. I appreciate them having like some practical effects in here. It's not all CG because it's it's easy to do all CG for this type of movie. And they're like, no, we're gonna we're gonna use some for sure, but we're gonna have also some practical effects in here because it'll make things feel more like have more gravity, have more weight. It'll look more
Yeah.
real.
The
I
only
Or
can
just
thing
be
relate.
that,
funny because Jonathan
yeah,
looks funny.
he
Hmm.
does. He just has little glasses and everything. I love how he became such a big part of this film. They should have done a lot of advertising around him instead.
He's
He
barely in
was
the
only in
movie.
there.
There's no
Yeah, so was
advertising
the
to
other
do.
guy. So was the other guy.
He's not in there
He's in there
he's in
for
there way
15
less than
minutes.
rege-jean.
He's in there for 15 minutes, and Jonathan, who everybody already loves more than most of the characters because it was
Who
ridiculous.
is everyone?
I've
Like,
seen a weird amount on TikTok and on Instagram about Jonathan.
I really
yeah.
liked the maze scene as well when they're in
Yeah,
the
the arena was
the
cool. It
arena.
was really cool. I love the mimic because that's a. And now you guys need to be on the lookout because I might throw one in our D&D campaign.
There
Mimics
are a
like to be
couple
chessed
scenes
a
where
lot.
I like leaned over to Lauren and I was like, I feel like Jerome's gonna do this to us now. I feel like this is giving him too many ideas.
The displacer beasts especially. Yeah, displacer beasts suck. they are they are hard enemies to kill. Those like panthers with their little tendrils. Displacer beasts. Love the gelatinous cube love though. That was cool. To see a
Oh,
gelatinous cube.
that's a D&D thing.
That is a D&D thing of the
What
gelatinous
was
cube.
the mirror thing? I really liked that where you could like transport yourself using like the mirror thing. You know, the what's it started with an H, I think. The stick
Oh,
you like
the
cast
hither thither wand.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing too. Everything they mention in this movie, all are things that are in D&D. They didn't make up anything because there's too many items
Even
to have
Jonathan.
to. Well, Jonathan's just a character. There's 1,000 characters in D&D, and then there's like, and if you include all the player characters that anyone's ever made, technically there's millions. But
I was
of
mad that
D&D
Jonalor
characters.
was not in this movie. Actually.
You should have been. You
Yeah,
should have
you
been.
guys are technically canon now. You're in a D&D world somewhere out there.
Next the
Woohoo!
sequel. The sequel.
I am curious. I would love to know that if I ever get a chance to meet any of the cast of this film and ask like, are these your guys just D&D characters?
Actually, they are. There came out in an interview that they played D&D with these characters
Well,
before
I mean
filming, during filming.
oh, okay, gotcha.
So
Cool.
they actually did play with these characters as D&D characters in an actual campaign.
Cool. But yeah, I like because I know Michelle Rodriguez plays, which I'm sure that's because Vin Diesel's a huge D&D fan. He loves D&D so much. And so I am sure he got Michelle Rodriguez into playing D&D. If she wasn't playing already. Yeah, a lot of the other ones, I'm like, I could see Justice Smith and Sophia Lillis probably being into it. I don't know if Hugh Grant would play. I feel like Hugh Grant
I
wouldn't
don't think he
care.
no.
Yeah,
I don't think he played with the cast. I think
yeah.
all
I
the
don't
ones
see him like dedicating time to making a character and then
is
doing the
Alex
roles
Rosie.
and all that stuff. I think she is.
Oh no.
It's okay. She'll come back. Uh, while we're waiting for
Yeah,
her to come back, if you're enjoying the review so far, subscribe to the First Ones to Die podcast and check out more of our extra content on the YouTube channel. And speaking of D&D, be on the lookout eventually once we finally get it fully edited. The D&D campaign is coming out. So you will get to meet characters, amazing characters like Link, Jill Nalore, Glitter, and Onya on their adventures in the Adventurers campaign. So be on the lookout for that, and we will announce it and let you know when that comes out.
And I am
Yes.
Link, by the way.
Alex, you were frozen like this.
Yeah, I was trying to fix my hair, and then like you guys disappeared. I was like, oh man, I like froze in the worst spot. I was just
Don't
trying
worry,
to
you
like
haven't missed
widen,
anything.
like a pushing
Yeah.
of my hair right here. Like my internet was fine, and now it went.
But
Well, do we want to get to final thoughts?
well, last thing I wanted to talk about, because we haven't really gotten to talk to him about him a lot, but is the main character Chris Pine. We
Oh.
haven't talked about the Bard at all in this movie.
I think he did a good job. I think he
Edgin.
was it was the perfect balance of humor and heartstrings that he brought to the table, and I appreciated that. It was I felt like out of most of his roles, he brought the most Chris Pine-ness of it. I could see him through the character, even though I've
You
never
okay
really
there?
like. It's just my eye. I had something in my eye. I've never. No, it was just Chris Pine's performance. It was just. It made me laugh so much that I cried. It made me, it pulled at my heartstrings so much that I cried as well. But no, he did a good job. I could see himself coming through the character, even though I haven't watched that many like interviews with him, so I don't know his like specific personality that much. But I could see himself coming through into the character as well.
Yeah, I love the concentration is a thing in this movie, which is a thing in D&D too, is that you have to concentrate sometimes on a spell for it to last. And I love that love when he's just singing and then he's just glitching out. And that's just
Oh yeah.
that was so funny. I love the visual of that. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, now when I play D&D, that'll just be the visual in my head. When like an illusion is losing concentration, it's just glitching out. Like it's on a PC almost. But Chris Pine was great in this movie. He was fantastic. He definitely was the glue that held it together. Because he plays more or less a straight man. He's not like 1,000 jokes a minute, which is good though. You need that character. I think is like the main character is the straight man character, and then everybody else can kind of shine as these unique, fun characters. But even the jokes he did have, he delivered them very strong. But Chris Pine's always been great at doing that. Like he's always had that smart ass type character. I think the nice thing though about it is that he doesn't play it like a jerk. That's why I mean, like, because I feel like if Ryan Reynolds was doing this character, he would be playing it like a smarmy kind of like know-it-all character.
He would be
when
Ryan
normally
Reynolds in medieval attire. That's
Well,
what he would be.
it's just because like that's what makes Deadpool work is that he's also like a smart ass, but he's a smart ass with like a smarmy way of saying it, where you're just like he makes you feel like you're dumb for not knowing. Chris Pine doesn't play it that way, and I think that makes you have a lot of charm, like that makes you charmed by the character a lot.
I loved the scene when they're about to get their heads cut off, and then Michelle Rodriguez like fights all the bad guys, and he's still there trying to get rid.
He's like, "Oh yeah, we got him now."
He's like, "There gotta be sharper steps somewhere else."
He's like, "Yeah." I just love that he thinks he's a part of it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in it too. Me too."
We got him.
How many times he's whacked people with his loot? He just comes out of nowhere and just whacks somebody.
That was the only other thing I thought was weird is they don't incorporate any of the bard spells, because bards have spells. They have magic too, and they don't throw any of his spells in there as the bard, which was interesting. Unless he was a different class maybe, but I feel like that was his role. He's supposed to be the bard. But and I guess you could argue some of them are just like spells that don't have a visual component, like bardic inspiration or something like that.
I mean, that's what he says. He's like, I make plans, and I'm the inspiration. He's like, I'm the one who tells you it's gonna be okay, and you believe me. They're like, you're lying, and he's like, I'm not lying. trying to be encouraging.
but but still, I thought he was great as Egan, and I hope that he continues to be the main character of all these movies because I think he's the perfect main character for a cast like this. When you have everybody's playing these larger than life characters or characters that are just very interesting and detailed, it's like yeah, and then you have the normal guy. He has a lute, and that's it. That's his thing.
Well, you know my feelings about Chris Pine. I quite love the man, so it's beautiful. I
Getting
love
to
how
see
much
him in
yeah,
Screen X.
and medieval wear. I love medieval wear. I think it was great hearing him sing and everything like that. And he didn't have any like jokes that were like insulting jokes. Even his joke when he was making about the paladin walking away, he's like he's just walking a really straight line. Look, there's some rocks there. Oh, is he gonna go
If
around them?
any, if
Nope, he
if
walked over them.
anything, if anything, a lot of the people made jokes about him, like uh his lips, like his lips are too big for his face.
Yeah,
That
it
was
looks
pretty
like
funny
he
when she's
pulled his
like, "With
pants
those lips," he's like, "What's wrong with my lips?"
too much. I love how the close up, like they made sure his like blue eyes were on screen. Like that was one of my favorite. I was like every time they did close up, they made sure those eyes sparkled. I was like that poor man's probably blind by the end of the film with how much light they were probably shining into his eyes. I felt like at times I was like you're like really in there. But yeah, I love Chris Pine, and he was posing a lot during this film. I did notice that because there's a scene again at the beach where he's going to lie down, and he's literally just on his side like this in a straight pose, and I was like, there was no reason for that, and then he lays down. So I did notice that there was a lot of posing for him, but yeah, Chris Pine, medieval wear, I was all good with this movie. I would have given it an A+ anyway.
My last question for you guys, and this is less to do with the movie, more to do with both of you, because I know when this trailer first came out last year, and I was like super excited. We haven't really started our campaign yet, or if we had, it was very early on. Now that you guys have had a chance to play a few sessions of D&D, get into your characters, learn a little bit about like how the rules work, some of the like items, all that stuff. Did that make watching this movie feel like have a little bit of a heightened experience for you, being that you now have played D&D and so you know kind of the how things work compared to if you hadn't, you feel like?
Yeah,
um,
I think so.
yeah, a little bit. Like even though I still am not, I think I have not scratched the surface of D&D at all. Made it a little easier to kind of grasp the world. Um, yeah, but
I think
I think I would have enjoyed it even if I hadn't played. Um,
I think for me, it makes me feel a little more comfortable in the character I'm playing because I am genuinely a bit of a ridiculous person. I say shit sometimes uh, that I don't. It just comes out of my mouth. Like I sometimes lack a filter. And I present that definitely in my character where I just say stupid shit. And this movie made me feel like more comfortable in that. That like, oh, it's not that weird that I'm kind of chaotic and I just say nonsense as long as it's like fitting to my character. But like, it made me feel better. Like, okay, it's not me trying to go outside the rules D&D, or I'm not messing up the game or anything. This is really just like fun and chaos to have with your friends as you're going on this journey. So it made me a little more comfortable in my character and being chaotic, I guess. I am supposed to be chaotic. Whether it be neutral or good, we're still yet to see.
Mm. Cool. Final
Oh,
thoughts?
eating people up.
Alex, go. Your final thoughts. What do you think?
I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I love staring at Chris Pine in Screen X. He was never out of my view.
what's
Um,
better, Screen X or IMAX?
I think Screen X just for this because, like I said, I always had some view of him. IMAX, I feel like still would have cut him off. But seeing him in IMAX, I think would have been great too.
See, I say IMAX just because the Screen X, while it's cool that you have the sides, they don't look as crisp as the front screen. Like it
I
literally
mean,
looks like projectors on the
in
side
a
of the
normal
wall
movie
as opposed to like
going
a movie screen.
experience, probably IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
But with certain actors, Screen X.
One of
But
those
with this
actors being
movie,
Chris
but
Pine.
he is a beautiful man, and I'm not going to, shy away from that. Um, I would,
If
I would, I would go on any adventure with him.
if Chris Pine and Jason Momoa were in a movie together, who would you just
No,
combust?
no, she would combust if it's Chris Pine, Jason Momoa, Keanu Reeves, Oscar Isaac, and
No, not Oscar Isaac. Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal now.
No, I was never with Oscar Isaac. I
What do
said
you
I wouldn't
mean?
mind seeing his scene in Dune. And then somebody also recommended the Marriage Story to me. Like, I'm not going to shy away from certain shows and movies.
No, I forget who the fifth person was. But there's a fifth person in there that
Alex said, "I don't like Oscar Isaac. I just like him when he's naked."
He takes care of himself. There's nothing wrong with that. And he's playing very good roles too. Although I didn't watch Dune. I watched that scene, but I didn't watch Dune. I'm gonna watch Dune because we're gonna do part 2 review.
Yeah, whenever that comes out, who knows?
November. It's supposed
Well,
to be
you're
November.
gonna have to carve out a whole day to watch Dune and
That's
do
true.
Dune.
It's so long.
It is so long. I got through 50, but I'll figure it out. I can crochet.
You would have to carve out like a whole chunk of your day to watch like both movies back to back.
There's just so much like talking.
Or if you start now, you could watch like 5 minutes per day, and then be done by the time it comes out.
I think I could do 15 minutes a day, and I feel like I could
Okay.
get to Dune to November. I think I could do that. All right.
Jonathan, what's your grade, Alex? You didn't give a grade.
I think it's an A. I think it's just a fun. I know there's like a little stuff that like it ran a little too long and stuff like that, but this is really just a fun movie to watch. It's not something that's going to be like heavy. It's a cute found family film, that trope. And if you're not like dissecting it really hard, it's just a fun film to watch with a group of friends where you can make jokes. And if you have played D&D, you can share your experience of being like, yeah, this is what it's like. And it's chaotic enough that it's like you're kind of like, oh god, what is this ragtag team gonna do next? But it's still very structured where they do have multiple plans. Although plan A and B have gotten stained, so now they have plan D, C, and F going on. So I do think it's structured really well, and it's just a fun movie. And I just enjoy movies that like don't make me think too hard because I'm trying to enjoy them. Although, please stop the passive aggressiveness at the beginning of each film now and thanking me for coming. Just stop that. That feels like you're personally like staring at me like, thank you. And I'm like, all right, can I just watch my movie? So, like, I think an A. I think it was just fun.
Jonathan, what do you think?
I agree. I thought it was a lot of fun. I loved the adventure element. Playing Dungeons and Dragons, that is definitely a core component of the game, that you're on an adventure, and I think the film really leaned into that. I thought the cast was great. Everyone really got into uh I feel like they immersed themselves into the role, and they not only made it fun, but it was also heartwarming as well. Um, Overall, yeah, I had fun with it and wouldn't mind seeing a sequel. I think if you weren't or aren't into Dungeons and Dragons, you would still have a good time watching this movie. And I don't think that necessarily means that it would be better if it was more like focused on if it had more, intricacies of the D&D game. I just think that it was cool that it was, more universal, without like dumbing down the game or anything. Uh, yeah, I liked the scene where they had the Hilfinch. What's it called? The Hilfinch. What
The
is
hither
it?
thither wand.
The hither thither wand. I like that scene when they're trying to sneak into the carriage, uh, and then and, and then you see they're trying to, like, they drop it or something, and so they're trying to get it back, but it looks like something completely different. Um,
Like bearing a body or something.
huh?
I said when Michelle Rodriguez's character was like holding onto his legs, it looked
Uh-huh.
like he was like trying to bury a body, but in the most awkward way possible.
Yeah, it also looked like something
Yeah,
else as well.
trying to be family friendly by mentioning only murder.
um, but yeah, overall it was fun. I will give it an A minus. That's
Strong.
gonna be my grade. Yeah.
Now me. Yeah, I
Judge Rick.
I love this movie. Obviously, I love this movie so much, and thank you for redeeming the Dungeons and Dragons movie legacy, because that first one with Jeremy
Oh,
Irons
we
and
thanking people
Marlon
now.
Wayans.
Gotta
You're
watch
gonna be
it.
like the cast at the beginning. We thanking people now.
Well,
Thank you for making this film.
it's
You're the
true,
best.
because that is the only Dungeons and Dragons movie that's ever existed before this one, and it's so bad. Jeremy Irons does his best to just overact his behind off in that movie to make it into something it's not. But it's just like nobody could have saved that film. I'm sorry, it is so bad.
Sorry.
Um, just like no, the blood will rain from the sky. Like
God.
Jeremy Irons killing it. Um, but this movie is fantastic. This is great. It could not have come out at a better time, where Dungeons and Dragons is super popular right now. Just amongst so many people, and so many celebrities are playing it. So many just regular people are playing it. So many shows have come out. It's just it's the heyday of Dungeons and Dragons right now. So this is the perfect time for this movie to come out, and they did a great job. The cast is fantastic. The jokes land. I love the effects. The practical effects on the corpses was amazing, and then some of the creatures. Those special effects were pretty decent, and the way they displayed magic was really awesome. Every spell has its own unique sound and look and feel. Um, just all of the lore they put into this movie clearly shows a passion that the writers had for this material and for this game and everything like that. So I would love to see more D&D movies made by this team and involving these characters, but if not these characters, just made by this team. I would love to see if this was like an anthology series of D&D movies of different parties and campaigns, because the sky's the limit. It's D&D. You could do whatever you want. So it's like maybe the next one could be an evil campaign that's like and as a movie where we see nothing but villains, or they could do one where it's like a bunch of paladins fighting, or people who are dragon riders. The sky's the limit. So I'm excited to see what they do next, if they do more. Given the reviews and how much money this movie's been making, I am sure they will do more. I'm sure the studio's like, "Are you kidding me? We're gonna ride this gravy train till the wheels come off. Like, we're gonna make some more D&D movies." Um,
We're gonna make some
because
Jonathan merch.
well, it's
Yeah.
just because if Hasbro's made all these Transformers movies that nobody liked but was making money anyway, they can
Well,
make D&D
they
movies.
made 3 of the old Dungeons and Dragons films.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So,
But the
which
other
I
two
didn't know
went
that.
straight to DVD. The
Oh,
first one is the only one that went to theaters.
wait, hold up. In February 2022, a spin-off television series was announced to be in development.
Hey,
For this movie, or for just in general?
The
probably
movie, it's
connected
under
to
the
this movie.
movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Uh,
Continue. Probably different.
Ross and Marshall Thurber is set to serve as creator, writer, executive producer, and showrunner for the series, in addition to directing the pilot episode. Various networks and streaming companies bid on distribution rights. In January 2023, it was announced that Paramount Plus gave the show a straight-to-series order and will consist of 8 episodes.
Well, that's good. Also, speaking of D&D shows, if you want to watch one now, that's pretty decent, and it captures more of an adult side of, playing D&D, not adult mostly in just how much violence, blood, and cursing there is. Watch Legend of Vox Machina. It's pretty good. It's really good. The voice acting is top notch. The storytelling's really solid. The animation looks really crisp. So, and in fact, the animation is a lot like Invincible. So if you like the animation in Invincible, you'll like the animation in Legend of Vox Machina.
And it can be found
On Amazon Prime. You can find it on Amazon Prime and watch it. So if you're still craving D&D content after watching this movie, go on over to Legend of Vox Machina and watch that. And if you really want some hardcore D&D content that's just straight D&D, you can either watch Critical Role if you think you have the time. Just to warn you now, every episode's like 4 hours long. So, and there's literally hundreds of episodes for multiple campaigns. So that should keep you busy until the next D&D movie comes out for years. But if you don't want to have that much dedication, also check out College Humor, or rather Dropout is now what they're called. Their app is $4 a month. It's a streaming app that they have, but you can watch Dimension 20 there. You can already watch some of their episodes for free on YouTube on Dimension 20's YouTube channel. But if you want to watch the whole show, all the shows, all the campaigns, watch it on Dropout. Watch Dimension 20, which feels more like an actual D&D show, but with actual players, and you get to see the dice rolls, the sets, everything. So check that out if you get a chance. But yeah, so yeah, and oh yeah, my grade is also A- as well.
There we go.
All right, social media.
Well, comment below. Tell us if you've seen D&D. Tell us if you like it. All right,
too.
now go ahead. No. Socials.
Jerome.
You can find me at Not Jerome Rat on Instagram, as well as at Robozoo Media and at Jerome_the_show to see other stuff I am working on. And also, once again, just wanted to put a plug in there. Going over to the Mopop and check out the Hidden Worlds exhibit, showing off all of the puppets and things and just set designs and stuff from like studios here in Seattle. So if you check out the Museum of Pop Culture, go and check that out, because it's an exhibit. Me and my girlfriend are going this Tuesday to check it out for a friends and family thing. So it's awesome. And also, if you want to get extra content for the First Ones to Die that you cannot get on any of our audio streaming platforms, go on over to the YouTube channel at the First Ones to Die to see all types of extra content like book reviews, mini reviews, gaming content, vlogs, and of course video versions of all the podcasts as well. So go on over there so you can check all that stuff out.
Nice.
Jonathan.
You can find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us, the First Ones to Die, on all of the social media platforms. You can also find us, you can email us, the First Ones to Die at gmail.com. We'd love to hear your questions and comments. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. Give us your feedback in the comment section below. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, please give us 5 stars and give us a review. And let's take us home, Alex.
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok. TikTok was where I mainly spend time posting videos of cheddar, but you can find out a lot more of what I do on the podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of the episode, what we may be reviewing next, and little commentary about videos I am watching at that moment. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and watch that D&D, the original one from 2000, and see what's going on there. I think that's gonna be interesting experience from the way I've heard everybody's been talking about it. Last video I watched was Ghost Rider, and I made a couple TikToks about that because it wasn't horrible. It was a product of its time. And I don't mean that in like it was like sexist or anything like that. It's just very much an early 2000s movie, which is what I'm expecting from the Dungeons and Dragons, the original one as well. Next week, Jerome will not be with us.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going out of town. It's my mom's
Go.
birthday, so y'all wish my mom a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Jerome's mom.
Yes, happy birthday.
It's her. Hopefully, I'm not calling out her age, but she's turning 50, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's
You have
excited.
such a young mom, but you're also the oldest, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
my
that might
sister's uh in her mid-20s. I'm in my
that might
late
be why I
20s.
feel like you have like a young mom. Like my mom's a little older, but I'm also the youngest, so I was like, of course she's older. But me and Jonathan will be reviewing Singing in the Rain because we are both very big
Ooh.
musical fans, and like Singing in the Rain is just great.
Yeah,
We
I'm sorry
will
to miss it, but I will be back the following week. So
we have to at some point see a musical this year together in person.
Yeah,
Whether I'm up there or you're down, something.
somebody got to take a weekend and go up or down.
Yes.
yeah, we'll figure it
I
out.
haven't been up there in a minute, so I should probably go up there.
Yes, but I also want to see
Although
like Tropic Sunshine.
Although
So
I'm like, yeah, I am like really not liking the rain. We honestly might come to you just so we can have some sun for a few days.
and I want to go to
Hey, that
Knott's Berry
too.
Farm. Like, can we do that? Because
What'd you
last time
say?
we did Knott's Berry Farm. Because last time we did like Universal, I've always wanted to go to Knott's Berry Farm.
Sure. I've never been there.
Yeah, see, great experience for everybody. All right, we got a trip to plan now.
But all right, everybody, see you next week. Have a great day or night or morning, whenever you're listening to this, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die to see all the fun stuff we got going on here, like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming videos, vlogs, all types of stuff.
Please follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe.